Fellas, welcome back to the Prime Dude. Your host here, Rob Edwards, and it's shoe review day. I love dress shoe reviews, and I've been excited about this one. This one is Blackbird Shoemaker. This is the Luke Derby. We're going to get into all the details, everything you want to know about this shoe, about Blackbird Shoemaker. I'm going to cover it, and of course, you know I go way beyond just the shoe table, where I will go over all the details and the making and design and what it looks like up close. But I go into depth on how they wear, how I use them. I put them to the test. I've already worn these, and that's the biggest part of the review, in my opinion, because these shoes had me hesitant because they cost $215 US, and they are, I'm told, they're super high quality. Tons of things about them that don't make sense at $215. They're hand welted. They use high quality calfskin leather. They're handmade. Their factory has trained artisans. How do they pull this off? And how could they possibly be comfortable and durable when I put them to the test? We're going to cover all of it. First, what I love about the name is it's an Air Force aircraft name. The founders named the company after the SR-71 Blackbird Stealth Reconnaissance Fighter. Now, fun little side story about the SR-71. It was actually supposed to be named the RS-71, but President Johnson messed the name up in the press conference rolling the aircraft out, and no one wanted to go against him, so they ended up keeping SR-71 when he was supposed to say RS. So a little tidbit there, but these guys, the founders, and they founded this company about 2022, so they're relatively new. They named the company for its sleek look. They call it Blackbird like the SR-71 because of the design. They love how it looks. I've already shown you a picture. It looks like the Batwing, right? It's just a cool looking plane, and so that's where Blackbird Shoemaker came from. Now, the company is incredibly proud. I've seen the founder interviewed a few times. They love the quality of what they do, how strong they are at making English-style Goodyear welted, or what they do, hand-welted dress shoes at an incredible price. And these are really fantastic designs. It defies logic that shoes that look like this can cost almost $200, a little bit over $200, but they do. So I had to review them. I had to find out, how is this happening? Is the product as good as I've heard it is? But do people really put it to the test? A lot of the folks that review these shoes, they're not wearing them a ton. They try maybe on for a couple days, but they're not working like I am. I travel every week all over the United States. I've got more frequent flyer miles than I can shake a stick at, and that's the value here. And I did that with these shoes. I'm going to tell you all about it at the last part of the review. Here is the last of the Luke Derby, the shoe that I purchased. It's the Holden Last, and it says, it's essentially a casual and country shoe design for what you would see as a plain toe derby. This here, of course, is a full brogue, which is also a great country shoe design. And so the Holden Last was a good place for me to start. It's going to have enough room for me to go true to size, and I put in the order with absolute confidence. Moving on to the actual shoe, and it's pretty classy looking. This isn't just your average derby. Of course, you see the lacing system making it a derby, right? An on top or outside lacing system as opposed to an Oxford with the inset lacing system. I love the contrasting brown, almost cognac look at the base of the last as it connects to the sole. And again, here we can't miss the price. There's two reviews. I'm going to add one myself, 5-star, and I'm not surprised at this point, but of course, people don't wear it as much as I do, and we'll talk about that. But $214.13, right in line with what I paid. Some sizing advice, don't be taken aback. When you see that they do not have half sizes, all you need to do when you put in your order is let them know what you wear, and they will actually, for your first order, reach out to you. It's pretty cool. So beyond the craftsmanship and the options for all the lasts, because I showed you the Holden, there's a lot more, and of course the options for all the different shoes, you can customize many of these things, including half sizes. They'll reach out to you with their fantastic customer service and ask you what types of shoes you already own. Allen Edmonds, Crockett & Jones, you name it. They want some examples and the size and width that you wear. They got back to me and recommended that they would make a 9.5 UK, which is my standard size, and I can say that fit out of the box perfectly. So these shoes are true to size. You can see here, toe profile round. This made it better for me as a first shoe. as the first last with the shoe company. The Holden is the last. They add a ton of details about everything you want to know about the shoe in the description on the page, to include the nitrile rubber sole, which is their version of the Day-Night sole, and I'm totally impressed with how it felt when I first put the shoe on. It didn't feel stiff like some of the Day-Night soles I've had on before. It was instantly comfortable, and that could be because they have this built-in foam padding that they add between the outsole and the insole in the upper. So some people don't like that. I think it's a nice extra touch. Hopefully it holds up over time, and we'll talk about the comfort of the shoe when I get to the wear and use portion. Okay, we've talked a lot about the website, about the company, right? This company is really excited to bring high quality handmade leather shoes at what is a crazy price. But does it hold up? How is it going to look under the light, under the microscope at the shoe table? And we'll round it out at the end and tell you what I think about the Blackbird shoemaker Luke Derby at a price of $215 US. Let's go to the shoe table and let's get closer to it and talk about the stitching, how it's made, and how it looks out of the box.
All right, time to unbox our Blackbird shoes. This will be the Luke Derby, also the Luke Blucher Derby as you see it on the website as we discussed. And of course, this is a trademark signature move by Blackbird. I've seen this online and it's a really nice gesture. They give you a beautiful shoe horn as a thank you and as a reminder to always use those when you put on your fine shoes. Two inserts here. Now this is of course something, Beckett Simon does this too. I imagine because these are already in the shoes as I've tried them on. This is in case you're between sizes or maybe you need a replacement. Also just a nice extra touch. Now some people might cringe at foam. This is something that apparently they like in India, and it does add a nice soft touch to it. I don't think it cheapens the shoe, but this is an actual look at what you have at your foot contact point on the insole inside the shoe, right? You have this foam layer under the leather. Nice shoe. Pretty standard derby, right? You know it's a derby, right? Lacing system sewn attached on top of the vamp. And what I talked about, what I love about this, what's so gorgeous about it, is this contrast. I do like that classic, almost Doc Martens look of a derby like this that has a beautiful heel stack, but then has the contrast. So we've got some black and brown here, and then of course along the welt it is brown, almost like a lighter brown, and then at your sole here at the welt attachment point, you obviously have your beautiful tanned black leather. Regarding the Luke, this is really high quality, and I've examined this already, guys, and I want you to see it really for the first time. I could not find any defects, any flaws in the leather. Of course, I went with their rubber sole, and when I talk about welting, you'll see it if you can read it. It says hand welted. I know in some of the pictures I showed earlier, and I can overlay some here. So it's not technically Goodyear, meaning machine welted. So the outsole, right, your sole is sewn to the welt. I was looking for a rubber sole because I need something that can take a hit in wet conditions. So when you're walking with leather soles, leather outsoles in rain, or especially after the rain, try to avoid being rained on. But that is really tough on a leather sole. So this does remind me quite a bit of the Day-Night sole that we see in many dress shoes like Allen Edmonds. And so our friends at Blackbird have their own rubber sole that is hand welted. And of course, they have leather sole options as well, right? This is a plain toe. Of course, that doesn't make it a derby, right? The lacing system is what makes this a derby and not an Oxford. But now it's time, and I haven't done this yet. I'll get the tape measure, and we're going to go to the tape and verify the SPI, which is stitches per inch. Okay, I had a chance to measure at a couple points here, and we can review very quickly, but stitches per inch is a way to tell if the dress shoe is higher quality, right? The tighter the stitching at any point at the vamp, and of course we do this at the welt as a measurement too, but I'll get into the stylistic challenge of really testing this one at the welt. But for the upper, this meant 11 stitches per inch, which anything over 10, you're getting into a luxury range. And you can tell these are pretty tight. There's a double layer here, at the lacing system, and then I tested along the saddle as well of this derby, and it's pretty consistently over 10 stitches per inch. So I'm impressed. Again, a $241 shoe, that's shipping included. They really take the time to stitch this properly. Now, if you look at the welt stitching, I measured here and at a few points here at the sole where the sole is welted to the upper, and it is where the sole is welted to the welt or sewn to the welt, and it was about 5. That's I guess a tad low, but this is again stylistic, right? You have Norwegian stitched shoes that would measure differently, so it's not really a true test in this type of welting for quality. These were made to order. I assume they have some sizes, but as I spoke before, they have an interesting sizing option on the website, and they just essentially will custom anything. I think they just look at it as like, hey, we're making this to order. So if you need something that's exactly a UK 9.5 or a 43 or 43.5 euro size, they'll do it. They want to get it right, and they want to make sure you have a quality experience. So good tail of the tape, good stitches per inch. Again, for something in this area, it's great value. Taking a look at the heel stack, we do again have a full rubber heel here, but nice leather stack there. There's 3, essentially 4, right? 4 stack. Maybe I'm counting wrong. Actually, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 counting our rubber heels. So just another nice touch. Again, high value shoe. Really nice lines here. I'm looking for a problem, and again, I'm not the most trained eye, but just a beautiful, just beautiful bevel to it. And even some beginning or the end of an hourglass shape to the heel. I do like the contour. We can get into the shape of the shoe. There's some waist there. Again, this last is, a derby last. So you're going to see more of an English style shoe just about any time you order a derby. And I think looking at Bridlin and looking at Blackbird here, they make English style Oxford shoes, English style derbies. Now looking it up, I had gandered before. This leather is from a tannery in Portugal. So their black leathers at Blackbird Shoes are from a tannery called Boaventura. And so it is a high quality, fairly well-known tannery. Is it as good as like NNA and some of the others? I don't know. But in the light, I don't see too many imperfections. I think they've really nailed it here. And again, as we talked about before, the light play is perfect, and I can probably do even more with this as far as a wax and even mirror shine now that my skills are improving. They do call this, by the way, a nitrile rubber sole. I think I did mention that in the opening, but it feels a lot like the Danite, which is known for a reason. And what I noticed when I tried these on, sometimes these rubber soles make the shoe a little bit more uncomfortable at first. You just kind of feel sometimes the dimples through, but I didn't, and I have felt that with Danite, so real impressed with that construction as well. Taking a look inside, I've still got the paper in there, but we talked about the foam pad beneath the insert in the insole. Now they don't use any suede on the heel counters. This is just leather. You can feel it's softened leather, but nothing cheap. And so it is a fully leather insole, very soft. I mean, this is again, this leather quality is impressive. So yeah, not suede. It is a harder feel than suede. It always will be, but it will break in absolutely just fine to have a leather heel counter. The suede heel counters are a luxury touch, but this is a plain-toed derby. I'm not looking for too many refinements. So I can say that after unboxing, after trying these on, learning that they're true to size, that I'm definitely a fan of the shoes. I haven't worn them yet. So by the time you get to the next chapter, that will be my review of the wear and use, and my full review, which will be finished up here in a few minutes, coming in the next chapter.
All right, this is a good looking shoe, right? I mean, up close, under the lights, at the table, it was really fun. Impressive measurements, impressive structure, construction. I didn't find any small detail out of whack, anything funny. Can't get past the price. It's still wild to me how well the shoe felt, how good it felt out of the box, that this is a $215 shoe. How did it feel on my feet? That's important. So let's have a conversation. I'm still stunned. I can't believe how good these shoes performed. I was expecting something to go sideways. I was expecting, after wearing it, and I didn't plan this, my first day wearing this, I would never do this. I love doing shoe reviews. I love trying them out for you guys, but I'm not wearing a shoe for the first time. I don't care who makes it. For the first time for 9, 10, 12 hours. Ended up being 13. It was a crazy weather delay day. It was already a busy day for work where I was standing a lot on hardwood floors, presenting. Tons of compliments, by the way. It's crazy that a plain toe derby would be one of the most complimented shoes I've worn. Says something about how that leather performs in the light. So that was really cool. And I was a little worried because I knew my day was going sideways. I felt the few hot spots you always do with new leather dress shoes, but not too bad. And that's because I have angled toes. I have hammer toe. I've talked about it in the podcast over there at the shoe table. So it's definitely an issue for my heels. My heels are bony. Fellas, this shoe held up crazy. I wore it again the next day. Almost instant comfort. They're not fully broken in, but they're breaking in fast. They felt like a lightweight tank, which is what I wanted. This is a strong, everyday, classy work shoe that I highly recommend. I think anyone looking to build a shoe collection or just a few shoes, few pairs for their wardrobe that are versatile, this is one to start with if you already have a versatile black Oxford, which they have the Adele at Blackbird Shoemaker, same price point as this Luke Derby. I just don't know. It must be a word of mouth thing. People in the U.S. are just not comfortable, and that's a thing. I'll talk about it when I do my full Alan Edmonds show. Americans like to walk in and try shoes on. They don't want to go through the process of shipping and dealing with that. This company, like so many others in Asia, makes it easy for us in the U.S., and I've read in Europe as well. I just don't get it. For $215, this is one of the best shoes in my extensive collection. I'm blown away. What a cool derby shoe. What a great feel. What great style. It's just a perfect travel, walk into a meeting shoe. I highly recommend it. You should check it out. No matter what shoe you order, I've got another one on the way from Blackbird Shoemaker. That's how much I trust this company after trying this shoe. And I would say unfortunately, because it was a rough day, getting a full long day test the first time, they held up incredibly well. Great style, great features. Order from this company. Fellas, try it. I highly recommend it. So that's it for the show. Bravo, Blackbird Shoemaker, for breaking the shoe industry. This is going to catch on. I didn't realize how new they were. They're only a couple years old. So it's going to be fun to watch and be a part of what I think is going to be shoemaking history because, you know, their competition, Bridlin, is also doing incredibly well. These shoemakers in Asia, even with the tariffs right now distracting things, are not stopping. They're pushing the boundaries of quality. They're taking care of their people in these factories, these workshops. They're open to people coming by. I think they're doing it right, and I hope they influence what is in many ways an overpriced industry. When you look at some of these shoemakers who make great shoes, but in a price range at 4 or 5 times this much, I've got a couple pairs of those shoes from those high-end retailers. They make great shoes. Northamptonshire, the best places. This is a rival right away. So congrats to Blackbird Shoemaker. Thanks for tuning in, guys. I hope you enjoyed the review. Like, subscribe, turn on your alerts. Drop any comments or questions down below about Blackbird. Let me know your experience. I've already heard from some of you. And thanks again for tuning in. I love having you here. And as always, stay prime.